And once again, welcome everybody to Cooking for Calm, finding wellness in the kitchen. As y'all can see, y'all see my little sous chef over here. Y'all see my beautiful wife over here. On screen, we have Sophia Campbell, who will be talking to us about the importance of eating healthy, working out for our overall health and wellness, as well as our mental health. So, with all that being said, I'm gonna pass that over to you, Sophia, and just let us know what's going on.
Sorry about that, guys. Hi, good morning. So, my name is Sophia Campbell Burrell, and I am a fitness enthusiast. I am a figure competitor in the bodybuilding world, as well as I am the founder and CEO of my company, Body by Soka B, which is a natural supplement line, which inspired me to kind of reach out to people and figure out other ways besides just relying on this medicine, other healthy ways just to maintain a healthy lifestyle. So I'm going to get into talking about the importance of exercising and eating healthy. And one of the main things too, just to, everyone has a different fitness goal. You should never compare yourself. I always say to people, always, make sure that you know that you're your own competitor. That's how I look at it. And just the importance of just with exercising and just eating right, it improves your mood, it boosts your energy, it promotes better sleep when you eat right and exercise too as well. A lot of people don't know too as well with exercising and eating right, it also can lower your blood sugar, also help with your high blood pressure too. So I always say when you start and you fit somewhere, just you can just start off by just cutting out sugars out your diet, as well as trading that sugar for, or a sugary drink for a water, or no sugar drink. They have so many now options, not just even just drinking water. So, and just kind of joining a gym and everything, it also gets you out there to be social as well. So that's an important thing as well, as you building another community outside of work and your other friends as well. So that's a plus as well. And you build another support system outside of like your family and regular friends. Also with like exercising and eating right too, it helps you to live longer too. Who don't want to live longer and live a healthy life? And I will share like just a small story too, just the kind of what made me push me to do like a more so natural supplement line to help people. Being in the medical field for briefly, for about 3 years, I noticed that a lot of people, older people, couldn't afford their medications. It was either buy their medication or get food, and they had to, of course, choose their food and don't know what they're going to eat and things like that. So that sparked up to me. It got to start somewhere. I don't want to end up like that, too. So I just always say, think about your future when you're putting your health first. And two, you got to think with the whole healthy part as well. Granted, you keep starting tomorrow, but you got to start somewhere. You got to hold yourself accountable, as far as eating right and exercising. Just start off small so that you don't get overwhelmed and feel like a failure. You can just start off maybe 2 days a week. Just make minor changes and then gradually add in things so that you're not becoming overwhelmed. Another thing that I want to touch bases on too, I would say a lot of people don't realize too as well with exercising and eating right, it also boosts your energy and just which who don't want to feel energy within their 30s and 40s and 50s. So it's just getting out and moving. And I want to segue into with like just getting out and moving. Another thing with me being in the medical field, previously, I noticed a lot of older people when they just give up on themselves. If you don't move it, you lose it. So you definitely got to keep it moving, which means with your core and everything, people don't realize if you don't get up and move, you're losing those abilities in your muscles. So you don't always have to lift heavy just to even get in the gym. And I know a lot of times people are afraid of just getting started in the gym because they feel like they don't know what they're doing. And it's okay to get a trainer or even just go to YouTube just to see how to utilize an equipment too as well. So don't let that fear hold you back, and don't let someone else's fears hold you back either from your fitness goals. So just make sure that, you're doing it for you and not the other person. It's like, and if you don't have a gym partner, just when you end up going to the gym, because it's such a social place, which people don't realize, you might end up really having gym buddies. And I meet a lot of good friends in the gym, no matter where I go. I mean, I used to live in Philadelphia. Now I'm here in Arizona, and I have built such a beautiful community just through just networking through the gym. So I definitely encourage people just to get up and get active and just get social again, especially, with sitting back with the pandemic and so many people um, lost themselves in the pandemic. I feel like I found myself in the pandemic, and that's when I decided to take on competing in the bodybuilding world, which was, I feel like, what better time to get into fitness when the world shut down. And I found ways, if you're not into the gym, you can find ways to exercise in your home, go for a nice long walk and get connected with nature, because the mind, body, and soul is definitely connected. So if you're not good mentally, you're not going to be good physically, and the body's going to respond. You're not going to be, you're not going to understand why you're feeling this way. Those things go hand in hand. So definitely make sure not only will you taking care of your inside, the mental too as well. And that goes with me being a competitor too. I've learned that as well. If I'm stressed out, therefore I'm going to get fluffy, hold water, and things like that as well. And I feel like this fitness journey just opened my eyes up to so many things. And also with us just being still young and, however old we are, it's never nothing wrong with getting your blood work done just to see what works for you. That goes for like making sure that your hormones are correct and everything. So it's so much that goes into it that you might thinking like, well, you go to the gym, you're not seeing results. Might be just simple as you just getting your hormones checked and figuring out like, hey, this is off, and no wonder why I'm not losing weight, or this is why I'm feeling down and everything. So that's why it's important is to get the whole 360 just checked out, keep it moving, make sure you just, you are what you eat. And in saying that, I am about to introduce, well, I want to say, does anyone have any questions before I bring in Chef?
So before we bring in Chef Sophia, I mean, one of the things that this is completely about is making sure that we find ways to maintain healthy, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have any just small tips of things that people can do on a daily basis to stay fit? Everybody may not want to go to the gym. Everybody may not want to literally lift weights. So
Right.
what are maybe five things that people can do that they can stay fit? I mean, calisthenics is using your own body weight, right?
Yep.
So what are some of the things? So give us about five things that people can do to stay in shape. And in sense, while you stay in shape, you're keeping your mental together.
Right. So for one, if you don't have a gym, you don't have money for a gym, there's always nature. And it's always like your house as well. So like I told you, I had to start working out in my house when the gyms and everything shut down. So there's no excuse. You can just definitely get some resistant bands. You don't have to, again, like I said, lift heavy. I got 5 pounds. 5 pounds can tear you up. Something vicious if you just slow it down. It's not about just throwing that heavy weight. Slow it down and get toned up. Also too, just so simple as just reading the ingredients when you go into the market. That's something I had to learn too, and just swapping out that, something that has a bunch of sugar in it and a high fructose corn syrup in it. I switched it to just like a sugar-free sauce. And yeah, I might try out 1,000 sauces, but once I found that one that I like. You know what I mean? So it's about you just taking that time out and finding out what you like, as far as like, what can I substitute to a healthier option that tastes good to me. Another thing I would say too, meditating. Like, people don't realize just taking that small bit, you don't have to meditate for an hour. Just take that small time out just to just sit still and just let your body rest. People don't realize rest is so important. So try to get yourself on a regimen and a schedule of just getting some good rest, some me time. It's okay to be selfish sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Society make it seem like you just got to take on all these things. No, just make sure you just carve out some time for yourself, just to give yourself a little bit of gratitude and give, like, the higher up gratitude. So just sitting still, I think this is another good point as well. And Everyone got to start somewhere. I say just swap out the sugary drinks and sodas and things like that for water. Make a goal that, hey, I'm going to just start off a little bit, with this water and increase it until you can get to like at least like a gallon. A gallon might seem like a lot, but you got to remember too, if you're not giving your body enough water, it's going to hold on to it. Therefore, it's going into survival mode. Same thing with food. A lot of people skip breakfast and not realizing too, it's important to have breakfast and eat all your meals, because then again, you saying you have one big meal and then your body is storing all that fat and things like that, thinking it's in starvation mode, because it's like, well, I only get one meal a day. What the heck? What's going on here? So it's almost just getting in the habit of, hey, my goal is, I might, let's say, eat one meal. I'm going to end up eating 3 meals a day. I eat like 6, but I'm competing though too, but that's another thing. But you got to start somewhere, and you got to think about it too. It's like, damn, I'm not giving my body enough water. I'm not giving enough nutrition. Your body's not going to perform. Same thing with mentally. If you're not taking that break for yourself mentally and stuff, you're not going to be able to perform. So you got to make sure that you kind of put you first a little bit, and then who don't like a regimen and a schedule? Kids love, regimented schedules too. Why not, as an adult, get yourself on somewhat of a regimented schedule so that you're making sure that your needs are taken care of as well. So it's okay to be a little bit selfish. Oh, and I forgot to add in there too, I'm a therapist by day too as well. So mental health is very important to me. I just been in this field. Like I said, you need that mind-body connection. If the mental's not right, your physical is not going to be right either. Even to another gem, I want to also just drop the last thing I want to talk about before I bring Chef into. Speak affirmations and be positive. If you keep being negative and saying I'm never going to be able to get it right, well, you're never going to probably get it right, because that's what you're putting out there in the universe. So therefore, you need to say, I can do this. You know what? I might have messed up, but you know what? I'm going to just continue to do better as I go on. Give yourself grace. Yeah, you might have had that Snickers maybe because your body was craving it. Okay, don't keep going on the whole binge of eating things because you felt like you did bad once. It's like, okay, I had that, I tasted it, I enjoyed it. Let me move on, and then to the next day. Don't beat yourself up about it. So I feel like a part of my routine is too just me just journaling positive things that I want, things I want to see. Even just starting off the day with just positive things. So just if you start off in a positive way, I feel like eventually you fake it till you make it, So we got to start somewhere, and eventually you're going to end up believing it. So I just feel like, don't beat yourself up. Don't go in the mirror and say, I'm fat, I'm ugly, I'm this. Like, no, say everything that you want to be, because eventually that's what you want to be. So I just want to leave it on that note there.
We're having some technical difficulties with Chef, and I think Jackie has a question.
I do. I also, yeah. And Rhonda has a question too. Rhonda, you want to go first?
I just wanted to know, piggybacking on what you just said, Ms. Sophia, that from a mental space, I'm trying to get there, but mentally, in my mind, I say I want to go work out.
Yeah.
But my body sits in front of the ice cream. Get me to the moment of how I can reconcile the two to actually move. How did you get started to where you felt like, okay, I'm not just exercising, I'm exercising for my wellness, I'm exercising for me, and now I'm going to compete. Give me an understanding of how you get your mind to move with the process of getting up and getting out to get to your wellness moment.
Right. Well, in the beginning, it wasn't easy. I might make it sound easy now, but when I decided to do it, it's like I had a really good life in Philadelphia, had a good gym family and everything. When I came out here to Arizona, I'm not going to lie, I went through like a small depression, because I was mourning my past life of like, damn, like I had my gym family and all of this. So I put on weight, and I told myself, and I'm just being transparent, I put on unnecessary weight, even though people might not say, oh, you still look great, but it wasn't my best. And then I told myself when I got out here, I can't eat like my husband. Like my husband can eat a whole loaf of bread and still be skinny, and I can't do that. So I got tired. It's almost like being in a bad relationship. You got to be tired and to be motivated. and move on. So I was tired of being in that body, and I'm like, I want more for myself, and I'm going to do it. Even, I've been wanting to compete when I was in my 20s, but I wasn't in the mental space to do it. I still wanted to do happy hour. I still wanted to eat a certain way. You know what I mean? And then when I got tired of looking that way and feeling that way, I slowly started doing my own research and just, how can I incorporate this and change this or whatever? And then when I start seeing my body changing, that only gave me more motivation. Like, I got to get up and get out there because I like the way I look. So when you start sometimes you can't focus on the scale at first, because let's say if you go in there into the gym or whatever, your house, and then you put on muscle, and then your pants are looser and things like that, but the scale's not moving, or it might go up. You got to remember too, like, muscle weighs more than fat. So just what I'm learning too, even with this year, it's not about the scale, it's about how you look, So, and everyone don't have the same goals. It's like, you can't compare yourself to this person and that person. Is like, you got to be the best version of you.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And it's like, I get inspired by people. I don't want to look like that person. Like, oh, damn, I like how that person, has these nice glutes and things like that. I would love to have, those for myself or whatever. I'm inspired by that. How do you do that type of thing?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to look like no one. I just want to look like the best version of myself. And I feel like that starts with just loving yourself. How much do you love yourself to put yourself first, to make these sacrifices? Because we all are getting older, and it's like, that wears and tears on you when you start feeding your body junk and everything. You don't feel good afterwards. You have acid reflux and stuff. And it's like, I would rather change how I eat instead of have to take like acid reflux medicine. And you know what I'm saying? It's like, I would rather.
Girl, get out of my medicine cabinet. But yes, totally understand.
It was like, that was honestly one of my turning points when I did my research on, I never had GERD, and I'm like, what the hell is this? Oh my God. And then when I went to the place or whatever, they gave me like some prescription medicine. That didn't help either. But when I did the research in the medicine and saw the long-term effects of how it be messing people up, I said, you know what? I'd rather not. It's going to destroy my stomach. I'd rather just change how I eat and, and live a longer and more healthier life. I was uncomfortable. And as I made those small changes and things like that, and realized like, okay, I can still have carbs, but I can have complex carbs. You know what I mean? And still make it good.
It's a process. It starts slow, but then you motivate yourself by sticking to the plan.
And when you see how your body changes, it's like, when you start looking, you're like, you know what? I want to keep this up. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I am my own motivation, and just figuring even more stuff out about myself. It's like I said, with the whole blood work thing, I'm like, okay, who knew that having low progesterone would make you feel like you have anxiety, depression, hard to go to sleep and things like that? It's like, it's not normal. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of times in our community, we don't know to ask for like a full blood panel instead of the basics. And a regular doctor, like we discussed before, cannot read those numbers. You got to see a specialist in order to know that those numbers are off. Even like with thyroid numbers, like the Black people don't have the same, numbers as everyone else, because anything above a 1, that's too high for us. But who's educating us on these things? And these are things that I just learned this year. And I feel like my path of just being in the whole bodybuilding world and just having the people around me, the community, has taught me so much. Even though, let's say, I've been through different coaches, and this is my 3rd coach, but I've learned something from each coach. You know what I'm saying? I took away something from it, good and bad. So I feel like any journey, you just pick up what's good and bad, what works, what don't work, and you move forward from it. You don't dwell on it. And, I should have did this better. It's like, you know what? Nope. All right. Lesson learned. Let me move forward on it and just go about my life.
Well, my journey's gonna start when chefs start, because it's probably the best healthy meal I'll have in a while.
We got one more question, and Sophia, feel free to transition over the shot.
Yeah, for sure.
Sophia, thank you so much for making the connection. I think, and Rhonda, thank you for asking the question. That trigger between, the food is comforting and all these other things and alternative things, and saying, you know what, I'm going to just really do it the natural way and be disciplined. It's really tough, but thank you for coaching us through that and giving us those affirmations. I did have a question about, you mentioned not skipping breakfast, and in terms of like cadence of food during the day. What's your perspective on intermittent fasting? And for people who are like new to it or have been practicing it and don't start eating to a certain time in the day, how do you think that affects the body and the benefits of it?
I mean, when you fast, I feel like it gives your digestive system a break from everything the day before. So I think it's a great thing. I also do fasted cardio in the morning. I work out on an empty stomach just to give my whole body a rest. I think it's a great thing. I always end up eating though, at least by 11, I have my meals, and I'm a super, again, it comes to preparing. So I prep all my food. I divide it out, like usually like Saturdays and Sundays. I put it in like a small Ziploc bag and I weigh them. Yeah, it's time consuming in that one day, but all I got, and I put it in the freezer like an old lady. I freeze all my food and I take it right out the day of, and it be fresh. And also too, like on my plant, when I'm on my plant, I have chicken, but I don't like refrigerated chicken. So therefore, in order for me to eat chicken, like you got to find out what works for you. But what works for me, okay, we're going to put it on this grill, this charcoal grill. We're going to grill all these chicken breasts, and then we're going to cut them up and we're going to freeze them. And I take them out and I let it naturally just thaw out in the sink as the day go on, and I knead it, and then I heat it up on the stove. But that's just the old lady in me. I just don't like refrigerated chicken. But you got to figure out.
You're too young to be an old lady.
but guess what? It works for me. The chicken tastes still grilled. It be bomb, but it's just a way to prevent me to snacking and stuff. Because let's say, okay, you have to make your meals every single day. You're going to end up getting hungry as you try to like prepare things, because you might not even get there in time to even, make it. So you probably end up snacking in between, and then you end up all these calories and things like that unnecessarily, when you can just prepare for it, be disciplined, sit down for these couple hours, get your meals done for the week, freeze it like Sophia, so it's fresh every day.
Your new phrase, like Sophia.
I'm just saying, it's fresh every day. I don't like old tasting food. So that's how it keeps me motivated, because I know every time I eat my food, it's fresh, as if like when I first just made it. So awesome. It's just basically, creating a foolproof plan for you. I know that's what works for me, but it's like, someone might not mind eating refrigerated chicken, but I do. I will not eat refrigerated chicken. It tastes horrible.
All right. Well, that's an awesome segue. Please feel free to introduce Chef, and yes, we can get with the cooking.
So I bring to you today, guys, Monique Burns. She is a chef and food lover who found her love for cooking at the age of 5. Fast forward to today, she created she catered to high-end clients, celebrities, and appears on Food Network's Chop. Monique will inspire with new healthy recipes and cooking tips to help you incorporate new healthy habits into your lifestyle. So guys, I present to you Chef Monique.
Hey. Hi everybody. How's everybody doing today?
Good. Look, you see, we got our recipes on the table. We ready to cook up with you.
I love it.
Listen, awesome. I was telling you guys yesterday, thank God for Amazon Fresh. So we got our fresh ingredients ready to go. Yeah, so Amazon, send us a check. All right, we're waiting on
it. I know, Amazon, run it. This is a great product for this. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. First of all, I want to say thank you so much for just allowing me to show you guys cooking and just showing my passion for it. I have always been passionate about cooking ever since a young girl. So this is actually like my ultimate dream. And the fact that I am living it, it is truly, truly just, I'm in awe. Every day I wake up and I'm like, I get to cook for people. People they trust my vision. And it's just a wonderful, wonderful thing. And I just want to say thank you guys for just allowing me to teach you and show you maybe some new tips, or just to be inspired to just go in the kitchen and make a healthy meal, because we all know that eating healthy really helps with our mental health, especially myself, because I struggle with mental health, just, juggling everyday life and just everything that happens in the world. I know that if I'm busy and I feel like I'm spiraling, coming into the kitchen and just making something for myself really helps me. So let's go ahead and get into it. So what we're going to be making today is going to be making our chicken and spinach orzo pasta. Now, this recipe is not too crazy, and it's also not too, it's not too
intimidating. So this is a very easy way to get things incorporated so you can start getting into the fun of cooking. Like everybody wants to be cooking, want to do a Michelin star cooking. This is just us training ourselves to get into that rhythm and then us playing along with it, because cooking is all about just enjoying yourself and just adding components in that you like and tweaking it to your flavor. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to get our chicken and we're just going to season it with salt and pepper. Okay. I'm just going to grab my chicken really quickly. And then we have here our chicken breast. Now you can't cut off the fat if you want to. I like to leave it just to have a little bit of flavor to that. So what I'm going to do is, I'm back and take my glove off real quickly. We're going to season that with salt and pepper. Okay. While I do that, I'm just going to get a little bit of olive oil into the pan, just a little bit. Now you can use any kind of oil. I just like to use olive oil. Okay. Turn that down a little bit. And then also you want your heat to be at like a medium heat. I'll probably say I put mine on like a nice like 4 for right now. So I have my chicken and I'm just going to season it with some salt and pepper. And then also you can put any kind of seasoning on here if you like. It's one seasoning that I wanted to show you guys also from Trader Joe's. It's called 21 Absolute. One of the best seasonings you can get, and it has no salt. It's low in sodium and it's full of flavor. It's like when I'm going to Trader Joe's, I buy like 6 of these. They're like, oh, here comes Chef Mo. She's buying up all the damn seasoning. I'm like, yep, that's how I go. It's really good. So I'm just going to do that. And I'm like, your chicken should look like that. And then you always could, for me, I like to make sure I season my chicken with salt just because I'm going to lose a lot of my salt in that sear. So don't be afraid that you put a little bit too much on there because you're going to lose like about, I'll probably say 35 to 40% of your salt in your chicken. So what I'm going to do is I got my oil on my pan hot. I'm going to go ahead and just lay it. You're going to lay it away from you. That way you don't have the oil splattering and you should hear a nice little sizzle. Okay. Now, one thing that I'm really passionate about when it comes down to cooking, especially chicken, is making sure that if you have a thermometer in your home, you want to make sure that your chicken is hitting at a 165, and that makes sure that it's safe for you to eat. And I have 2. I have one in the refrigerator, and I have one in my drawer right here. And it just helps us out, making sure that everything is nice and safe. So I'm looking at my chicken, it's starting to get a little bit of color on there. I'm just going to go ahead and add a little bit more of some salt on top, just like that, just a little bit. And then also a little bit of salt and pepper. Okay. Okay, so this right here, we're probably going to take like about, for this chicken breast and fries, so we're going to take like about 4 to 5 minutes on each side for this chicken to get fully done. And what I like to do is leave the meat alone. Like you can pick at it, but don't keep lifting it up off the heat. You want to keep it on the heat because if you keep taking it off, it's going to get a little bit more tough and you don't want it to get tough. You want to make sure we keep it juicy. We want to make sure that it's inviting for us because like Sophia says, she don't like refrigerated chicken. I don't like dry chicken. So this is how I prepare mine. Okay, we got that going. Do you might have any questions?
So do you puncture it while you were doing it, or you're just flipping it?
You said, sorry?
Do you perforate the chicken or just flip it? You don't bother it while, I mean, like what you're doing now, are you just?
No, right now I'm just like lifting it up slightly just to see the color on there.
I can't see your chicken. So
when you're lifting it up and you're like looking at the color, you want to make sure that it's getting that nice and like golden color because if your pan is too hot, you can get that really like scorch on there, and it just doesn't. For me, some people will eat it, but for me, I like my food to be pretty because then I feel like okay, I'm worthy. Like I want pretty food, and also it just makes me enticing for me to eat it. So yeah, this is coming along really well. And then while that's going, right there, we have that seasoning there. We also be using this pan for our risotto, or for our aromatics. But on the side here, I have another pan here just for our orzo pasta here. Now, cooking orzo pasta is just like pasta. You're just looking for that nice al dente in your pasta. And the reason why I like orzo is so adaptable. You can put anything in there. You can put kale, you can put spinach, tomatoes, you can add feta, you can add some cucumbers, you can make a beautiful salad. And it's quite filling also. And it also is one of the, I'll probably say one of the most used, like less of the pastas, but it's very diverse. Like you can use it everywhere. So now what I'm going to be doing, like here we go. This is the color we're looking for. A nice, beautiful color right there. So I'm going to put that back. I'm going to put that over in there. Okay. Now, while I have my chicken going, I'm going to go ahead and get my pasta going right now. And I'm going to have that start working right now. So what I do is for cooking with the pasta, always make sure you season your water with some salt. And then people like to add oil. I'm going to tell you right now, stop adding oil to your pasta. It's not doing anything. It's not allowing it to not stick to each other. What makes the pasta stick together is it's not a big enough pot. You want enough big enough pot so it can start rolling and can start having their own little dance per se. So that's what we want to do there.
Is that any pasta or is that just specific to orzo?
No, that's any pasta. Pasta just needs room to dance. Okay. Pasta is a very spacious dancer. You got to give it room. Gotcha. So we're gonna get a cup. Measuring cup. Right. I'm gonna get my cup of orzo. Now, I know. Here we go. Yeah, we're gonna put that right in there. Let that cook and have a little dance. Now, one thing I want to share, because I think this is like a hidden gem, and some people just don't know about it, but if your store that you have in your neighborhood has bulk sections, bulk section is like one of the best unutilized areas ever. I live over here by Sprouts, and I also have a Winko's, and they have a humongous bulk section. So if you want to just go ahead and experiment with different kind of ingredients and different kind of pastas, it's a great way for you to grab that and just try it out, because you can buy like say your recipe go for a cup worth. You can get that for like about 80 cents, and prepare for you to spending like, $3 and some change, because you're trying out new things. And for me, my cabinet looks just like a giant pantry. I have everything you can ever think of, and it's all because of that bulk section. So, all right, chicken is looking good. Probably got a little bit more time on there. All right, I put that in there. Perfect. Sounds good. Clear that off. All right, perfect with that chicken. Chicken's looking good. All right, let me see. All right, so I'm going to take my thermometer. I'm just going to make sure, because we want to make sure that everything is safe. I don't care how long I've been cooking in the kitchen, hotels. I always have a thermometer with me just to make sure that we are reaching the proper temperature. Right now, we're at 152. I'll probably say like another 2 minutes, and we'll be good to go to the next step. Perfect. Awesome. Goodness gracious. Ooh, it smells so good. You can salt and pepper. How's everybody doing over there? Good? Yes.
We're doing our best. We're figuring it out.
Chef, my mind is still blown about not you putting oil in pasta. You just changed my whole religion right there. I had to get my mind.
Okay, let me tell you. I get my learning from everyone all over. From people I work with. You could be the top chef. You can be the prep cook. You can be the dishwasher. I have gotten the best advice from just listening and just being open to information. Right. So I was making pasta. We was making pasta for 500 people at the Omni. And I was like, okay, I got to add oil to this. And he was like, what are you doing? And I was like, I got to add oil to the pasta. He said, no, you don't. Why are you wasting all my good oil? And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, chef. My apologies. He said, pasta needs to dance. So just think about it, the biggest pot that we have here. and make sure it's at a rolling boil, and you're good. You don't have to, you're wasting all the goodness. Save your oil, your good oil, for afterwards. So when you toss it together, you have that flavor.
So when you season your water,
Mm-hmm.
I like chicken bouillon flavor. Would that be okay with orzo too?
Oh yeah, that's perfect. Pasta is going to absorb any flavor you give it. So if you want to add garlic to your pasta water, if you want to add, let's say you're doing like maybe like a Asian inspired like pasta dish, you can also add ginger, your lemongrass. There's a lot of things. You can also add just like a slice of lemon just to give you that little bit of like, flavor in there. If you're looking to go like more for a low sodium kind of diet, like maybe more like clean eating, that's totally fine also. Yeah, cooking is, you can add whatever to your pasta. I would not recommend like anything like too heavy, like maybe cream or whatnot, just because it needs that liquid to absorb. But yeah, you can definitely add in bouillon. That's probably like one of the best ones to do when you're trying to incorporate more flavor.
Yeah.
Like it just adds together. Same thing with like cooking macaroni and cheese. A lot of recipes call for cooking it with boiling your noodles in milk, because it's going to absorb that more of that flavor. So yeah, that's awesome. That's a perfect one.
It's funny that you mentioned your boiling your noodles in milk. I've seen somewhere where ramen noodles can be done by boiled in milk. Is that like what is the, I guess, science behind that?
Well, so what it's doing is it's just pretty much just flavoring the noodle. So what it's going to be doing is it's just going to make it more, I won't say probably make it a little bit more tender, but you're also going to have those milk proteins that are going to be going into the pasta, and it's just going to make it more creamy and just more, I guess you could say a little bit more like it's going to add the fat, because you're going to have fat in your milk, but it's just going to make it more elevated in your dish. So like there is a chef that, and the name is escaping me, but he is a black chef, and actually mac and cheese was invented by a black chef, and like they were talking about how the recipe got developed and how they was like, okay, we have milk, let's add this milk, and it was just this, it just enhanced everything. So I was just like, well, look at that. That right there was just it's just being experimental and using what you have. But yeah, anytime you're cooking with the liquid, it's going to infuse in that, because think about it, like pasta, look, you have your ramen noodles or any like pasta like orzo is going to infuse into that pasta, because it's just a blank canvas. Just saying like tofu. Tofu is going to take on any kind of seasoning that you add to it. So when people say, "Oh, I don't like tofu," maybe like if you try marinating it like in a teriyaki sauce, or marinating it in like in a really nice like ginger garlic kind of like oil based like marinade, it's going to take on that flavor. Same thing like potatoes. Like if you ever have like a soup that's over seasoning, go ahead and drop in a peeled potato, drop it right in there. Probably like 60% of the salt is going to get absorbed from that potato, and that's how you can save your soup if you get it over salted. So yeah.
Is that also why like risotto usually comes in like a creamy sauce or some type of like cream?
So risotto is going to be a little bit different. So traditionally, you don't want to add cream to your risotto. What makes risotto so creamy actually is going to be the starches that are released from the oboro rice. So when you start stirring your risotto and you keep working your starches, you're going to see it become more thick. And as you start adding your stock, it's going to become that creamy consistent, but it's just that starch. And then, of course, if you want to add Parmesan cheese and like, your sauteed mushrooms or your sauteed sweet potatoes or butternut squash, then it will add that to that also.
Okay.
So yeah, it's just, it's all about just experimenting in the kitchen. And I tell a lot of people who are trying to get back into the kitchen, it's all about just having fun with it, because we are going to be nourishing ourselves. And we're also learning, especially when it's new. It can be very intimidating for you to go into a store and have a piece of paper and trying to figure it out, or on your phone and you're like, okay, what do I grab and what do I get? My thing is I want people to feel comfortable in their kitchen. I want them to, touch their food. I want them to smell their food constantly. I want them to look at the different seasonings they're getting and like, really go into a different world, because when I'm stressed and I'm feeling like the world is just crashing, I will sit here and make the most complicated recipe you have ever seen. And my husband's like, did you buy all of Whole Foods? And I was I just feel like the world it's not stopping. I just need to just make this recipe and just be done with it. And he gets the benefit of me cooking. So it's a win-win in this scenario.
I guess he always knows when you're stressed, though.
He knows when I'm stressed. As soon as he sees that transaction come through, he's like, oh my God, my Lord.
We can talk about it over dinner.
Yes, exactly. And hopefully he'll forget.
For real.
So what are we going to do right now? So right now I have my orzo pasta right now going. So what I'm going to do is get in the habit of tasting your food. It's not like it's going to help you develop more of a sense in your in cooking, and also give you a little bit more confidence when you're cooking. And also you're going to know like, okay, this pasta is a little bit hard. Okay, it's getting a little bit soft. Okay, this is neat, that, and you're starting to develop your palate. You're starting to perfect your technique. So right now I'm just going to taste my pasta. Okay. Perfect. It's got a perfect al dente. And I'm just going to drain off this pasta water.
So you have 1 cup of orzo to 1 or 2 cups of water.
I put about I put like 2.5, maybe 3 cups of water.
Okay.
And then this is how it looks right here. Just going to show you guys. Just nice. Like
a little starchy.
Yeah.
Okay, puffed up a little bit more.
And then you can see at the end, they have like a little bit of like a white note. That's how I know it's at an al dente.
Nice.
So I'll put that there. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil afterwards, just so we can prevent sticking. I'm going to put that in there.
So we can still add oil, Jack.
Yeah, you can still add oil, but just not when it's boiling. So we have that, and I'm just going to set that aside right there. Okay, now this is very important. So a lot of people like to clean their pan after they get done cooking their chicken. This is like gold. Keep that. That is what you want. This is called, in culinary term, this is going to be called fond. And the fond, you want to make sure we keep that, because that's going to be a lot of flavor. We got a lot of that great like golden bits in there. The oils are really nice in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in my garlic. About 2 tablespoons of garlic. Now, some people are going to say always use fresh garlic, which I will say yes, always use fresh garlic. Sometimes, some days you don't feel like using fresh garlic. You just want to make sure that you just get your recipe and going. And there's nothing wrong with that, because if I go through a lot of garlic. Like I will go through like maybe like 20 pounds a day. Oh, not 20 pounds a day, 20 pounds a week. Excuse me. And it's
not a question.
Like, hold on now, what's going on? And, it's just a lot that I would just go through. So I add garlic into everything. I added to my Greek goddess dressing. I added to my a lot of my risottos. I go through a lot of braising liquids because I make my cognac short ribs. So I use it quite often. So what we're going to do here, we're going to mix this to get nice and aromatic. And what you're looking for that really nice garlic aroma for it. If it's starting to brown a little bit too fast, you're going to go ahead and just turn down your heat. It just means that your heat is a little bit too hot. And if your pan is really hot, just go ahead and turn it off. And then that residual heat is going to help cook down your garlic. But right now, we're just looking to have it like nice and fragrant. So, yes. Very nice. How you doing over there? You doing good?
There was such a thing as smell-o-vision. Woo!
If that was a thing, man, they would have gotten me. They would have gotten me.
I'm feeling calm right now with all this aroma over here.
See?
I got chicken ready. We love some chicken, but this chicken, gourmet chicken right here.
Yeah. And then also what I want to also say, like, once you start getting more familiarized with cooking, and like maybe you have like made this dish like once, you're like, okay, this is good, but I want to add a different kind of protein. This will go really great with salmon, any kind of fish. It would goes great with shrimp. You can also add shrimp. You also can add tofu. You also can add tempeh. You can add so many things to this dish. So this dish is very adaptable. So then also if you're looking for, let's say perhaps like maybe you're looking for, you can't find chicken breast, you can have chicken thighs. That's totally fine. You got drumsticks, totally fine. Don't worry about it. It's going to be the same thing. Okay. So I got my garlic nice and toasted. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add in my cherry tomatoes. So what we're going to do is, with my knife here, I'm just going to chop mine in half. I just want to go ahead and cut these in half. I love tomatoes. I think tomatoes in the summer are just like the best because they're in season for us. And I just love a good charred tomato. I don't know about everybody else. I put these in everything. I put in my eggs. I put it in my pasta and also in my salads. Only thing I probably have not done yet is add this into a juicer. So I'm going to add in my cherry tomatoes. And right there, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to toss these around. I'm going to get these a nice little flavor. We're going to marry these together with our garlic. Okay. We're going to get this nice. Now, if your pan is looking like it needs a little bit more oil, you definitely can add that also. Just add a little bit more oil. And then also, you can also add in water too, or you can add in chicken stock too. Very nice. Very nice.
Chef,
Yes.
does the type of tomato you use make a difference? Like, do you need to use the heirlooms or?
No, I would say it's all going to be on your preference. If you want to use heirloom tomatoes, those are like one of my favorite tomatoes in the world. Is a nice juicy heirloom tomato. Also, you can just use your traditional cherry tomatoes. If you don't have that, you just have a traditional tomato, you can just chop that up, give it a nice little rough chop. That would be great also. And also, if you have canned tomatoes, you can use canned tomatoes also with that. I would probably recommend, because they do come with that liquid, maybe use like maybe half of that can. And then as the cooking process goes, we can see if you want to add more to that. And then also, if you only have not pasta sauce, like tomato sauce, you can definitely use that also. So the recipe is like, it's not a blueprint. It's a very much of a structure, but you can definitely switch it out and tweak it to yourself, because you might find that the canned tomatoes add more flavor than, the fresh tomato. You might say, I wanted the heirloom tomatoes to go with that. Or maybe you wanted to add like, maybe the tomato sauce for that, maybe a little bit more of a creamy kind of texture. So it's going to be all depending on how you like it. And this is just like, you can go off the recipe, but also you can go off the recipe. Gotcha. I would just say, like, the first time for me, I always like to make the recipe like maybe like 2 times where I feel comfortable. I'm like, okay, good. And I'm like, okay, I know I can add this and I know I can add that. So let's go ahead and like, change it up. And we're making the food to us. So we want to make sure that it's to our liking and to our taste. Right. And then that's how you find out like what went well. Like, hey, like I did it with chicken breast, but hey, the chicken thighs was more juicier here. Or hey, I used she said use orzo pasta, but I didn't have orzo pasta. I had couscous. Oh, it worked out perfect with that. So it's all about adding those things in and like incorporating. Like the pandemic, if anything has told us about the pandemic, don't have a plan. Have a plan, but don't have a plan.
Right.
Your plans can change real fast. You could do I did an Instacart order and I had asked the guy, I was like, oh, I need the tomatoes in a can. He gave me all tomato sauce. Oh. And I was like, oh my goodness, what are we gonna do? I was like, well, I guess we're gonna try it out. And it came out great. There was nothing wrong with it. It was totally fine. So it's gonna be all about just playing into the kitchen and just having that. And then once you start truly like, going into the kitchen and really getting comfortable, then you're gonna see a whole different blossom of yourself come out. You're gonna be like, okay, I don't need this, I need that. I like this and I like that. But that's what cooking about. Cooking is about like, the connection you have with the food and how it's incorporating to you and how you can make it personal. Because cooking is personal. This is your time, and this is your, this is your work, and this is also what you're feeding yourself. So you want to make sure that it's good for you also. So I always tell people like you have the recipe, but also it's not set in stone. We can also make sure we can switch it off and just change it to the best for you. So we have that, my chicken's in there. So from there we have our tomatoes that begin charred.
Thank you.
Grab our spinach. So what I'm gonna do is, now I know the recipe says that we're going to put the orzo pasta in, but I just really want to wilt this pasta down, not pasta, the spinach down. So what I'm gonna do is, I use the chef method, and it's called the hand method. About 2 handfuls of spinach. I'm definitely a chef that likes to work with my hands, and I like to smell it. I like to hold it. I like to see how the chicken is. The guy in the at the butcher's the counter always knows I'm coming. I'm like, I want to see the tag. I want to pick it up, turn it around, flip it over. Let me look at it. Smell it. You smell it. Can I smell it? I have to know that this is a fresh ingredient, and it's also letting the people know also. When you're walking up, they're like, "Oh my God, here's some Chef Monique. Oh my God, are you ready? Is everything in order?" Because I would sit there and I'll be like, "Show me the tag. When did that come in? What's that? Why is that there? Is James here? Bring James out here. James know what I'm doing." I think I blame my grandfather for that, because he was really big on making sure his ingredients was the best. And also my grandpa had a garden in the backyard. Mm-hmm. So I grew up on fresh tomatoes, fresh zucchini. I grew up on like having like the most biggest like lemons I have ever seen in my life, grapefruits, and just everything. So I really think I got it from my grandfather when how I am right now with cooking.
Yeah, don't blame him. Thank him.
Oh no, I love it. I think
that's a good trait. I wish I had it.
My grandpa, I really believe before he left this realm in life, that he was teaching me things that was going to be I needed in the future. And I'm just really thankful, because I picked up cooking and also gardening. And then my grandma was just like, she was the one where if she saw you on the street, she's going to cook for you. If you were walking down the street and someone was upset, she would bring them up to the porch and be like, talk to them for a bit, and feed them some peach cobbler and send them on their way. So pretty much in her eyes, she was the neighborhood therapist. Yes, in a way. Holistically, because everybody pretty much, if you think about it, sometimes we get stuck in our heads and we just get lost, and sometimes we feel like we just can't get out, and sometimes we need somebody to talk to. We just need to express like what we're going through, and someone to just understand like, yes, this is hard. Like there is no blueprint to this world or anything, and like we all just trying to figure it out. So I'm very proud that I had my grandparents who gave me that joy of cooking and that sense of love with my food.
Maybe that's your next show page. Ground up gardening for the soul or something like that.
So chef, my parents are both from Haiti, and nice. my mom's a self-proclaimed botanist, and my dad's the biggest green thumb in the world. My dad has about 4 acres of land out there where we go from fruits to vegetables, plantains, watermelons, cabbages, you name it, he could plant it. And so growing up, going to Haiti, I would just go into his garden, we call it garden in Creole, but I would go onto the farm, go grab me my mangoes, my oranges, and my bananas, and just go back into the house and relax for the rest of
the literal sprouts.
Now that sounds incredible, because like I feel like and this is just my little joy, like where I would love to see how the world is. I really don't understand why food can be so pricey. I mean, I get it, I understand it, but it's a necessity for us humans to thrive off of. And the fact that you were saying like you can go in the backyard and just pick fruit, and I was like, why can't we just have that? Like I have my lemon tree, she would produce so many lemons, and I was just like, well, I can't just eat all these lemons. I would share. Everybody know I have my little red wagon with my lemon truck, and I'm going across. I'm like, who needs lemons? They're like, right? You need lemons? I'll be more than happy to give you lemons. I have no problem giving you lemons. Or like if I had like my basil plant was just growing to the point it just took over the yard, and I just picked it and I was just giving it out to my neighbors. They're like, why don't you sell it? I'm like, I don't want to sell it. I want to share it. I want to share it with you. I want to share what I grew, what I got up at 5 o'clock in the morning, making sure there was no bugs on it, making sure everything was okay. I want to share with you. But I feel like that was my little joy. If food could be free and we all could just, have that harmony with that, that would be like the ultimate dream to have that. So in my way, me coming down the street, my little red wagon is my way of having that little bit of joy and doing that. So yeah, that sounds beautiful. Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean,
No, I'm jealous.
we used to go every so often. And when we would go, because my mom's the same way, she can tell you what every plant is and its medicinal purpose. And she's the type where drive down the highway or drive down some strange road, and she's like, "You see that plant right there? Stop! I need to go get it." She'll go get it, and she said, "This will bring down your blood pressure. This will help with your cholesterol." One plant, for perfect example, before everybody was dandelions.
Yeah.
Dandelions became a thing. She was like, these things, they have medicinal purposes. I'm thinking, my mom, this country lady, she don't know what she's talking about. And next thing you know, 5-6 years later, everybody's selling dried dandelions as a medicinal alternative.
Yeah, exactly. I remember they was talking about that, and I was like, because I used to intern with a holistic chef back in California when I first started my journey in culinary, and she would teach me so many things about herbs, the importance of meditation, the purpose of like being outside, the purpose of just hydrating properly, creating that healthy boundaries. And I have to say, like, working with her was a great, great example because it taught me so much. But just like, man, if I knew your mom and she was close to me, I'd be calling her every 5 minutes, like, "What's this? You see this? What is this? What does this do?" Because that's such an important thing to have. Because sometimes, like, I believe in medicine, but also I believe in the power of food and the power of plants also. So
Gotcha. Yeah. So I mean, my mom, she's one of those people that's always willing to help. There's a young lady. My mom lives in Philadelphia, so there's a young lady that was starting up her own urban farm, and she literally came to my mom's house and was asking all of these questions on the things that she would grow. And my mom was like, "Yeah, don't put too much soil, don't do too much of this, and you'll see everything grows." In the front of my mom's house she lives in Philly, so if you're familiar with Philadelphia or Northeast, you don't have that much land.
yeah,
So the bit of land she has, she grows basil, she grows thyme, she grows peppers, she grows melons, she grows every vegetable she could possibly get her hands on, and she cultivates the seeds so that next year she can grow them back again. Those that aren't perennials, she'll just go and repot them.
oh,
So we definitely get amazing fresh food when we go over there.
that's amazing. That is. I believe my grandpa said, he was like, if you have land, even a little bit of land, he said, grow something. And it was a quote I heard: "It's always good to see something grow." And I was like, okay, well, let me see. I think it's time for me to start my garden. I was like about a couple years ago, and during the pandemic, where I feel like I was just at a standstill of my mental well-being because my job was just disappeared. Everything just stopped for like the first 2 weeks. Culinary just collapsed. Like the industry just stopped. Everything just fell apart. And I was like, I think it's time for me to start my garden. And just watching something that I have from a seed and grow up to this beautiful plant, it really did something to me. And now I can understand more that when parents see their kids growing, how it's such a joy to watch them grow up, or just, see them flourish in the world, and knowing that you was a part of that also. But yeah, I feel like if you have a small piece of land, go ahead and grow something. It could be the smallest little plant in the world, but it also does wonders for you and for your mental health. I really believe in that. So what we're gonna do is for our next step. So how along are you, Prague? How far along are you?
So we got our spinach reduced, and in our whatchamacallit, we got our orzo ready. We put a little bit of oil, and we mixing it up, We ready, chef. We were trying to keep up. I mean, we're a little behind, but we're trying. I'm not gonna lie. We had to do a little cheat code. We put the chicken in the rotisserie so we can keep moving along the way. So just kind of being honest here.
No, that's awesome.
Pan-seared it first.
Yeah, we pan-seared it
first
and then throw it in the rotisserie.
Yep.
Okay, let me tell you something real quick. What you just did was a very much of a line cook tactic, because the line cooking, you have to know your timing down perfectly. The fact that you made a plan of like, okay, we got to do this and adapt it. That's what cooking is about. Cooking is about adapting to your environment also. Like, like my family do not like to call me. They just like to show up. And they don't show up with one person. They show up with 10 to 15 people. So I'm like, they hear, I'm like, what I got to do? I got to feed 15 people. And my family is here. I know they're going to eat. We got to figure it out. We got to punt. We got to go for it. Same thing in the kitchen. Like, it could be a slow night. And then all of a sudden, it will be 50 tickets come into the kitchen. And we got to get it out in like about 20 minutes.
Right.
So with that being said, we just started watching, was it Bear?
The Bear.
Bear the other day, right?
Have you heard of that show, Chef?
Let me tell you something. That show was so real. I had to pause it at least 5 times. And I had to walk away. And I was like, I cannot believe a show got this so accurate, because it's exactly what we go through in the kitchen. Like Carmen, how he is struggling with mental health and he's just in his head.
Yeah.
You have to be very cautious when you have a career in this industry, because if you are not cautious and very well maintained about your mental health, it will consume you in a way you have never thought it could consume you. And it has gotten me to a point where I was lost. And the chef I was working with, he ended up having a really hard crash, and he ended up stepping away from cooking, went to a wellness resort up in Sedona for about 2 weeks to get everything out of his system, because it just got too chaotic. He had 3 restaurants. He was losing people left and right. He was recovering from industry. I can't even say it, but he was telling me like, Mo, you're going to go into this industry full time. Take care of yourself. Get an outlet. Don't stay here. Don't take anything personal. It's not that serious. But the Bear, watch the Bear. No, because it's people think that you have the glitz and the glamour of Hollywood, right? And how Hollywood can show you this beautiful thing of cooking, and everybody thinking that it's like, oh, you get to have this and have this when you travel. And yes, you do have that, but also the stress that comes with being a chef. You gotta do the numbers. You gotta have, get your dishes ready. You gotta also do connections. You also gotta do that. You gotta, take care of your employees. You gotta make sure the staff is going right. If the staff is not going right, you gotta let go of them and you gotta find somebody else. And then also you gotta go make sure you're presenting yourself also in a light in front of others. But then you also forget that you have others behind you, like your family. You have your extended family, your friends, and then also you forget about yourself. Like if you go to chefs and look in their closet, majority of all their clothes is going to be black tees. Oh my gosh, black tees, black tees, and just some loose fitting pants and some comfortable Birkenstocks. Majority of us is like that because we don't have time for it. But that show is very real, and also it's a little bit too real, man.
I mean, it seems like in for a person who's not a chef, right? It's triggering a lot of times because the actor does such a great job exuding anxiety, right? So much so that you literally have to look away or go do something else to, for example, the last episode of the second season, being locked in that closet in the walk-in was probably the best thing to happen to him.
It was because it made him face things. Cooking it's an escape. Honestly, I can be so stressed out. And when I say so stressed out to my wildest imagination, to the point where I'm having heart palpitations, I'm sweating, I know an anxiety attack is about to happen. I go into the kitchen, my chef is like, Monique, this is going to be a crazy day. I'm like, thank God. Yes, it's going to be crazy. because it totally will distract me from what my anxiety is, and I have to focus on my cooking. Like we'll have like 500 people, and I have to sear 500 chicken breasts and prep up like risotto, and also count probably like about like 1,500 asparagus to make sure everything is counted for. So I'm like, this is going to be a great day for me not to be in my mind. I put my headphones on. I'm just going to jam it out, and I'm just going to figure it out.
You really cooking for calm.
Yeah. It's like, it's just, everything just go away. And that's what people say, like, Mo, how can you do this industry? Like, this industry is brutal. Like, I would come home and I would have like cuts and burn marks all over me. And they would be like, how do you do this job? I was like, I think I'm just made for it. And also it balanced out my little world of chaoticness, I like to call it. So yeah, if anyone wants to know how the industry is, please show them the bear as the accurate description of what happens in the kitchen. And it's very true. You have the girl who was getting bullied, Sydney, but she was getting bullied because she got into a higher authority. I went through that too. People was very intimidated because I was a very young chef that came in and rocked everybody's world because I knew how to do fine dining. I knew how to do barbecue. I knew how to do Asian food. I know how to do Italian food. And everybody, like, I treated everybody like a human. I didn't yell at nobody. I made sure I came in and gave them love and kindness. And if they had an idea, I made sure I listened to them and incorporate them in part of our meal planning and making sure that, they're seen. And some people didn't like that. And it was just a horrible experience. And I'm like, this is not what it is. This is all about us coming together and figuring out how to execute this properly. And you over here thinking that it's an ego show. I don't do this out of ego. You can ask anybody. I am more than happy to proudly share my recipes with the world, because what am I going to do? I'm going to hold that until I die and not share it with somebody else. Right. So, but yeah, that show, don't let me get me started on that. We can do a whole segment on the bear. We can dissect everything and we can talk about everything, because my husband is sick of me talking about that thing on show. Because
it sounds like being a chef, kind of reflects working in corporate America, right? As a Black woman, not just a Black woman, but Black woman adds an additional layer to it. There's always this theme of, you come in, you have to prove yourself to the people. And, it's one of those things where it's not enough to be great. It's you have to add on top of that to show people that, one, I'm great and I'm not going to take your stuff. And we're just going to keep pushing along.
Yeah, I have to feel like sometimes I have to like, I call it the tiptoe. Like, I feel like when I get to when I see my chef and they're like, okay, Mo, you're hiding right now. I need you to step up because I know you are giving us more. And I was like, okay, no problem, chef, I got you. And then I have to make sure I tiptoe around people because I don't want to startle them because I'm coming in, know. And then lately, my therapist has told me, no, you need to be loud, Mo. Stomp harder, Mo. And I was like, I don't want to wreck the world. She's like, no, you're hiding. You need to show everybody the world. And I was like, all right. But if I have to tell you, we have to go back up from doing from 1 month to every week. It's gonna be your fault. So, but I mean, it had to help tremendously. Especially now since I'm like on my own and I'm doing my own business, it's helped a lot. I have made myself seen. I have had incredible opportunities that I never thought that I would be a part of. And it's beautiful. I mean, like, sometimes you have to tiptoe, especially in corporate. But now, since I'm running the shots and like I'm running my business and we have developed it in such a way that is so beautiful, I have to say I'm very loud, but also I'm not too loud. I don't have that ego behind it. I am very much, if I can be there and help you, I'll be more than happy to help you. I'm all about helping my kids and making sure that the kids are always supported. Also, my elderly community, I'm very passionate about making sure that they are being seen and they're being heard and making sure that they are being taken care of. And anything dealing with like women's health or men's health, I'm always there. I just started volunteering at a woman, an organization that provide free feminine menstrual products, and I go there and volunteer all the time. I'm like, tell me what to do, what you need. They'd be like, Mo, we need we need a chef last minute, but I'll be there. Give me like about 15 minutes to grab something and I'll be down. But I'm really about just creating community and always looking for connection and for genuine connection, not for connection to gain for me or to just, step up. It's more about just being there for the community. And I hate capitalism. I think that people just can be really greedy. And I really feel that sometimes that we need to go back to like more of a simple life. And so if I can do that, then that'd be great. So I do that with my little stuff.
Yeah. Man.
Yeah, thank you. So, okay. So I know we've been talking, we got off of track with the bear and everything else, but I really want to show you. So let me see. I'm going to show you guys. So here we go.
Oh, there we go. Looks good.
So we have the orzo, and it's gone along with the spinach and also with the charred tomatoes. So also what you can add in here, if like you don't want to use spinach, you can use kale. If you don't want to use kale, you can chop up any produce you have, like maybe some zucchini, maybe some asparagus. You can also do like some really nice, like maybe some broccoli rabe, or you can add in even like some frozen vegetables also, because that's really how do I want to say it? It's it can be very much easily available, and also it could be an easy like quick budget meal if you're looking for that also. So what we're going to do is going to add a little bit more of my chicken stock. So also I like to use the chicken stock, but also what I like to use, and I have a lot of it, I'm going to show you real quick. I know she said the bouillon. I will use this right here. I'll have like about like
Better than bouillon.
I have the lobster one, I have the vegetable one, I have chicken, and I have the beef one. And this is one I use all the time, and this is like a staple in our household. So while that is going ahead and just going to be reducing, what I'm going to go ahead and do, I'm going to add in some more Parmesan cheese. Now, if you're looking to make this like more like health cautious, you can also reduce your cheese or also like not add it at all. But I like to add a little bit of cheese to mine. So we have that. And what I'm going to do is a nice little stir, get this going. And then with me, like I have, you can see that the orzo took on the color from the fond on the bottom of that pan. And also, when I tell people that like don't like clean it, when you're using the fond, it's going to help you also with your cleaning also. Like if you see it right here, nothing is sticking to the pan. So when you take this off and you have getting ready to plate it, it's going to be an easier cleaning. And then also, I've been very passionate with not using the not stainless steel, the nonstick pans. I have truly transformed my kitchen into cast iron or stainless steels. So this one right here is like one of my favorite things. I have about like 5 cast iron skillets. This right here is going to be a great staple for in the kitchen. And also they have found evidence that a lot of the nonstick pans are leaking chemicals into the food. And so anytime that we can stop that process, because, the world is going to be the world and they're going to do what they're going to do, this will help slow that down and using that. Now, also a good tip, if you don't have stainless steel pans, and let's say you're on a budget and you don't have the money to go buy brand new ones, I always tell people to go to Goodwill or go to your local thrift stores, because a lot of the time people don't know what they're throwing away because they don't know how to cook on it. And so they would just get rid of it. And I would go to like a thrift store. Like for me, I love to go thrifting. I love to go see like, little gems and whatnot. I came across a stainless steel pan that was worth like almost like $200, and it was nothing wrong with it. It was brand new. And it's this beautiful thing called bleach and water that you can use to sanitize your pans. And also what I like to do, I clean it with the bleach and soap solution. And then what I do is I'll put it in the oven at 500 degrees to make sure that I'm killing all kind of particles. Let that fully cool and it's good to go. So I am really big on that. So that's one thing that you can do also is convert over from nonstick pans to just going back to old school. Cast iron and stainless steel pans are going to be your best friend.
Yeah, I got lucky at a thrift store, not a thrift store, what do you call a garage sale? Somebody had Calphalon.
Yeah.
a whole set, and I got it for $5. I was like, okay, I know what this is about. So I did get lucky. So I'm with you. I do the thrifting, and I got lucky on that.
Yeah, it's like you have to also, I always say keep your mind open. Everybody just like, oh my God, thrift store. Keep your mind open. If you keep your mind open, you will find so many good things. And that's also in life. I started my career because I wanted to be a chef in California, but I couldn't afford tuition and housing. I saw a chef came into Starbucks one day and I said, hey, you a chef? She said, yeah, I'm a chef. I said, can I be your apprentice? She said, yeah, okay. And she gave me her card. And girl, when I tell you that I pretty much called her every day on the day until she said, you know what, come to the office, come to the kitchen. And she was like, you want to learn to cook? I'll do anything. Tell me what to do. And she was like, peel potato. I said, I'll be the happiest peeling potato girl you've ever seen in your life. And from there, I got the chance to cook with celebrities that I never thought, people that I admired my whole life. And it was an amazing experience. And that's all because I kept my mind open. I didn't shut it down. I didn't say, oh my God, I'm in this funk and I was just like, keep it open, Mo. What possibilities can come? And from her, I ended up going to another chef, and I ended up moving to Arizona, and I ended up working with incredible chefs and incredible opportunities. And look at now I have my own business right now because I kept that door open. And trust me, I was ready to slam it shut. Trust me, I was ready to slam that thing hard. But then I was just like, no, Mo, we're going to figure it out. We're going to take a deep breath, and we're going to go. And then that chef came in and just changed my world.
Sounds like a testimony.
Yeah. Oh, I say it all the time. I call her every time I think about it. I'm like, Chef Amira, I wanted to say thank you for taking a chance on a girl that was just wide-eyed and bushy-tailed. I just want to say thank you because I truly appreciate it. She didn't have to take me under her arm, and she cared for me, and it was beautiful. I owe her a lot because she just took a chance on me. But all right, I'm getting sentimental. I don't want to get emotional because I will get emotional because I'm a very emotional chef. So
we getting ready to plate now, chef?
Yes, sir.
What are we looking for as far as the consistency of what your dish is at now?
So yes, what you're looking for is a really nice, like I'll kind of say like one of like creamy texture. You want to still have like a little bit of liquid left, but then also it's going to be to your preference. Like for me, I like a little bit of that liquid in there, just like so. Let me see. I'll show you real quickly. So just like that, you see how we got a little bit of liquid in that pan? Just like that.
And chef, what temperature is the or how high is the fire underneath what you're cooking right now?
Oh yes, so the fire is going to be around like a 2.
Okay.
Right now, I just turned it down for like a nice simmer. Okay. So we have that, and then what I actually want to do is, while I have that while I'm plating, I'm just going to go ahead and turn that off. And then I'm gonna have the residual of that heat just go ahead and cook the rest of that liquid out. I want to grab my plate.
Yeah, chef, your portion size looks like it could be for 2. Looks like Paige is cooking for a whole 15.
Yeah, so
Paige, I'll say this: you made meal prep. Look at
look at that. It looks good.
Wait. Before you play,
it really looks good.
Before you play, I want you to take a moment and look what you just created because that looks beautiful.
It does look good.
That looks gorgeous.
It takes a village to make this work out.
Yeah.
I know, right? You got to feed it too.
The fact that you were saying like, oh, we have to pivot. Hey, that was a good pivot right there.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'm going to bring this closer so I can show you guys how I played. And then that way you guys can see it. But I'll tell people.
So for the orzo, it was al dente when you took it out, which means I guess for you still not cooked, but close enough. So this cooking process that you just did in your pan, it's not going to overcook it and make it mushy or.
No, it's still going to have a little bit. So I'm just going to try this. I'm just going to taste it real quick. So no, it's still going to have a little bit of a bite.
Okay.
Just a slight bit.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit. But it won't truly overcook it.
Okay, good.
So I'm just going to add a little bit more salt to mine for seasoning. A little bit more. Perfect. Give that
Outside of salt, what's your go-to and your 21 season salute? Outside of those two, what if I'm looking for a kick in my flavoring of my food? What do you go to? What's your must?
So we're gonna go in this cabinet because I got 1,000 ingredients in this cabinet. So what we have, so what I use all the time. So I have. Oh, wait, hold on a second. Oh, let's see.
And don't say smoked paprika because everybody say that and I still can't taste it.
No, so like what I do is so Whole Foods will sell these little packages and they only cost like around like $2 for these little packages. I will always add a little bit of blackening seasoning to mine, a little bit of it. And then also this right here, the Sazon, I also add this. This is a local brand that is really good and it's a clean brand. So I always use that. And then one of my other staples here is that I use this one of our local brands called Raw. This one right here is really good. So it's a low sodium seasoning that is really good. Still have a lot of flavor into it, but this is like one of my favorites that I use. Now, what I also always have on deck is I always have granulated garlic. I always have onion powder. I always have so many different varieties of salt just for different flavors. And then also what I have, let's see. Yeah. So this is what I always use. Like if I'm looking for like seasonings, I always go into like it's a little section where they only cost like about $1 on here. So I'll have cayenne, paprika, I'll have garlic. I also make sure I always have parsley, cilantro. I always make sure I have onions. I always have an abundance of onions in our household. And those are pretty much my staples, my go-to for that. If you have onions and you have carrots, you can make a lot with that. That could be a really great base for you. But for me, everybody would ask me like, where are we going? Like, where do I get my ingredients from? I have them all over the place. I go to a lot of stores, a lot of mom and pop shops that are trying to, showcase small businesses. I always go to Fry's, and like if Fry's have an abundance of sales and something's on clearance, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna try that out and see if I like that. So I always keep it open to make sure I have that. But my staples are usually granulated garlic. I'm always going to have my low sodium seasoning, my onions, and also I'm going to have a lot of aromatics. For it's like if it's going to be garlic, I'm going to make sure I have a lot of herbs. Basil, I always have basil in my refrigerator. I go through it so much. So those are my staples. Those are one thing I like because like especially right now in Arizona, it's like 1,000 degrees. I like to make sure I'm eating things that are cooling. So I have a lot of I did like yesterday, I did like a cold pho, a dish where I had cilantro, basil, I had some parsley, I had some spinach in there. And then I also had some shrimps that I had left over and I made like a broth and I cooled it down. And I just used that as like for my dinner for dipping. So those are my staples that I always have. And people always make fun of me because I have like my cabinet is like busting at the seam. My husband thinks I should donate some, but my kids and
I'll take whatever. I'll take whatever will be shipped. And I second on the saison. Like so a lot of what we cook from like in the Haitian cuisine, is, and chef, like measurements are suggested, right? For us, we cook to taste. So
yes,
it's all about memory of the taste buds and knowing what you're looking for is flavor. And one of the heaviest ingredients we use is saison to make sure we get that rich, savory flavor out of our food. So
yeah, I love the flavor of it. I love the flavor. I love the color of it. It adds so much to it. But it's like one of my favorites.
So, Chef, we almost ate the orzo by itself just because it's just that good. Oh, this is not just for me? Okay, my bad. I'm sorry.
I told you he was cooking for 15, Paige. Come on.
He's ready.
I apologize. It's It was good.
So, it looks amazing. It looks
It
fantastic.
really does.
Thank
So what
you.
I'm gonna do
Real
is-
good on that green as well.
So what I want to do is I'm
What's
just going to
going
go
on
ahead
with
and
this
slice my
basil,
chicken.
Chef?
Huh?
How, did we skip the step with the basil, or we're still?
No,
having-
no, we're going to use the basil to finish. So you're
It's
going to
garnish.
be fine. So what I'm going to do, go ahead. I'm just going to go ahead and slice my chicken.
So we gonna not show our chicken because we
We
chopped
gonna
it up.
show it. We
Wait,
did
no, I want to see it.
Yeah,
pivot. We chopped it up, Chef. We just want to
nice.
Because
Yeah,
we're gonna use the rest for chicken salad later. So we
You know
will-
what?
all
This
together.
is, we're not trying to do Michelin today.
It's
Today we're trying to have
gonna
fun.
eat the same.
There you go.
Have
There you
fun
go.
in the kitchen.
You're right. You're right.
But look at that. Like now you have a memory of this. Like you're like, oh my God, remember we made that chicken? You did this and we had to pivot and do that.
Yeah.
Look at you. It's all good.
That plate is
So-
chicken.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna wait till she.
Go
do
ahead.
So what I want to do is I'm going to go grab here. I'll go ahead and already slice my chicken already.
Mhm.
Go ahead and slide that on just like that. And then what I like to do is to fan it out just a little bit.
Looks juicy.
Yeah. Juices are still in there. It's still locked in there. I'm just going to take a piece in here. I'm going to show you guys.
And
Just seeing it, like they're still juicy. It's fully cooked through, but it's not dry. It's not that dry chicken, you know?
yeah.
Because I think the worst thing you can do is get to the point where it's like so dry to the point where you just like, well, I don't know who's going to eat this. So we have that. And then what we're going to go is I'm going to go ahead and grab our basil.
Basil. Go ahead.
Oh,
Finally get your
basil.
basil.
Basil. Yes. This is my moment.
Love basil. I think that's like probably one of my favorite herbs besides dill. So we're gonna do is I'm just gonna roll it in just a little bit like that. I'm just gonna chiffonade it. So I'm sure this right. So what I'm gonna go do, I'm just gonna go like that. Just nice little ribbons. We're doing nice little ribbons. Make sure your fingers are curled so you won't nick yourself. We don't want none of that. And then what I want to do is I'm gonna fan it out and it should be like nice little like that.
Okay.
And then what we're gonna do, we're just gonna put that over just like so onto our chicken, just like that. Really nice. Now, if you want to go be fancy, now this is like what they do in like fine dining restaurants. What you do is they'll take the basil and you'll have some oil, pot of oil, like medium heat. You would dip it in there and you would fry it, and the basil become translucent.
Oh.
It's a really nice way of putting on your dish to elevate it. And it's like a basil chip and it's really good. It's really flavorful. And it's just a really nice touch on there. So you can always do that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit more cheese just on top, just for presentation.
We did.
Oh, you did.
Just like so. Boom, boom, boom. Bam.
Bam.
Okay.
Yeah.
And for here, we have our beautiful chicken spinach orzo dish here.
Oh wow, it looks really good, you guys.
That looks incredible. Now,
I really- I'm not mad at you, Paige. And look at you, Jackie. I see.
Thank you.
you over here talking about your chicken. Your chicken look beautiful.
It looks good. The garnishing of it looks really good.
Thank
And it
you.
looks
Thank
delicious.
you. Thank you. It looks good too.
Yeah.
I almost didn't make the screen. I'll be honest with you. We were like tasting the whole time. Like, oh, this orzo is different. We might not eat rice no more.
I really looked at it and thought that it was like rice. You cook it like rice, but it's total different way to cook it. And I was like, yeah, no, this isn't the way to go. So it's a pasta. I mean, it just looks like rice grains, you know. So I'm glad you said don't add the oil, because that's me. I'm an all in salt and bouillon in my water, boil it and drop it in. So
See, I was the same.
I learned today. Yeah.
That's how it is. I feel like if you keep your mind open, you will get so much information. Sometimes we feel like sometimes I will feel like I know everything. And then I have to take a step back, like, no, you don't know everything. Keep your mind open and receive things. And I have learned some of the best tips from my dishwashers working at a hotel when I was what was I trying to do? She came over here and helped me. What was I doing? and she did something, and she showed me. I think I was making calabacita, and it's like a Spanish, like stewed, like a squash dish. And she came over there, and she did not speak any English. She just, all I heard was she just tapped me, and I was like, huh? And she just got her knife, and she was showing me, and then she stopped, and she looked at me like she judged me, and then walked away. I said, all right.
Well, I mean, here's the thing: like food and music are things that culturally bring us together, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's a perfect example of how you guys were able to communicate without even using words, right?
Yeah.
Is the power of the culinary experience. And we definitely, this, I'm not gonna lie to you, there's those box, make it your own at home service. We're not going to talk about. We're going to talk about chef right here. Chef Monique we went from a ragtag of Memphis to a bunch of chefs in the kitchen today. So
it looks good. Very gourmet.
About 4 dishes that I rotate, maybe 5. And this definitely is going to add to the rotation. Like I like how simple it is. I like how good it tastes. And thank you so much for adding something to my little bitty repertoire.
Outside of that commentary, it looks like a very quick and simple dish. The longest part, I think, is the searing of the chicken, making sure that it's done, because I think the orzo was ready as you were still cooking and searing the chicken. So it's just probably a 30-minute dish after all the prep and everything.
After everything, it's probably like I'll probably say, probably like about 30 minutes. And then as you start cooking more, you will find little ways where it can just speed up. Like maybe you'll make your orzo the night before, or maybe you'll have, your other ingredients, already prepped up, and it will cut it down. But as you start cooking it more, you will start to have more of a repetition, and you get, your own sense of like, cooking. But this right here is what we want to make, because it's simple. It's not expensive. It's not that expensive. And it's a way to elevate what you're already having. And then also you can just have fun in the kitchen. Like Prague over there, I just think it's funny when you was like, oh, we have to pivot and do this. That's just like also in life where you have to pivot and figure things out. Yeah. But it came out beautiful. It's a beautiful dish. It looks beautiful. It smells beautiful. It is presented well. Like this right here, you'll probably get this like in a Italian restaurant, because they would be like, this would
all of $25.
I'm about to tell you, like they're probably gonna charge you like $25 to like $30 for this dish. And look at this, make this at home.
Ooh, a little French bread with that, or
don't tell. Yeah. No carbs.
Imagine adding like maybe changing it up and like maybe adding like a nice little pasta sauce to go with that, and then you got your French bread. If you like, having that. Have a nice
don't forget the glass of wine.
That see, she already know. She my friend. She already know what I'm doing.
Right there with you.
Well, Chef, thank you very much, and we appreciate everything you've done for us today. Do you have any parting words for us?
Yeah, my parting words will just to be keep your mind open when you're in the kitchen, and also have fun. Cooking is a necessity. And we all should, have like some dishes under our belt just in case, if anything happened to the world, like if everything stopped, if everything at home, we can get through it. But my thing is just keep your mind open, keep your heart open for just new experiences, and just to learn and just to grow in food. And I'm also going to say, if you have any questions, you can also reach out to me on my Instagram, or you can just email me. I'd be more than happy to be an assistant if you need any advice, or if I can guide you anywhere. But yeah, just have fun and enjoy yourself. And also don't be afraid to ask for help. I'm a strong advocate for mental awareness. So if you ever need help, always ask for it. It's nothing to be ashamed of. We going through it, and you always going to have support.
Chef, what's your Instagram?
Yes, my Instagram is Chef Monique _. And it's me in a yellow picture, so you can't miss me. So you can always reach me there, or you can reach me at my email, which is chefmonique@thepositivechef.com. And we would love to hear from you. And if we can help, we'd be more than happy to help.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Chef, and everybody that joined today. This is one of many events that we plan to have for the community to continue to focus on our well-being, whether it be mental, physical, nutrition. We really want to make sure that we understand that it takes the holistic approach to making sure our mental wealth is always taken care of. And one of the things that Sophia and Chef alluded to earlier was the importance of women's health. And so with that being said, in a few weeks, we'll be putting together an event, a panel where we'll have Chef on there, we'll have Sophia on there, and hopefully we'll have Rhonda on there because she seems so insightful. Where we'll be talking about the impact, really understanding your wellness, your health, because as Chef mentioned and as Sophia mentioned, there are things like hormone levels that we don't know that impacts everything in our lives.
Yeah.
So with that being said, keep an eye out for the flyers that's going to come out soon. And once again, we'll have Chef, we'll have Sophia, and once again, hopefully we'll have Rhonda on there.
Please come.
Yes, and once again, we appreciate everybody for joining, and to all of our donors, your donations do not go unwelcomed. We welcome every penny, and every penny goes towards the mission and vision of this organization. So thank you very much. And to everybody that stayed beyond the 1 o'clock hour, I hope you guys learned something and really enjoyed the stories and the message that Chef and Sophia offered, as well as the insight Rhonda had, because I mean, she was helping us get some more out of Chef. So
I really appreciate how you guys have fed my mind and my soul. But I'm about to dig in this plate and get that body together. So
there you go. There you go. All right. With that being said, everybody else, stay safe, stay well.